Hi everybody, welcome to a new episode of the Renaissance Builder. Today we're going to be talking about an as seen on Facebook soldering iron. I figure this is either going to be the worst soldering iron I've ever seen or something quite snazzy, but you'll have to follow along to find out. So without further ado, let's get started. I apologize about the lighting. It's something I am continually working on to try and fix. But anyhow, today's episode, I'm actually going to attempt to do two things out of this, because not only do I have this here really cheap soldering iron to experiment with and see what it's worth, but we're also going to be assembling, using the soldering iron to assemble another super cheap oscilloscope. Now, the oscilloscope is important to me, and I will explain why in a different video. So you'll have to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to, so you get notified when that comes out. But trying to knock out two birds with one stone here, because it is two projects. Anyhow, I thought I would show this off because I'm holding the camera by hand for a reason. This project, or this video, kind of requires an overhead view, and, well, I'm not a wealthy individual. So, well, let me just put it this way. The overhead camera view has, a good one, has eluded me for a while. So, I came up with something that I wanted to show you, because this is rigged. It's rigged rigging. Check this out. So this is my rigging. I decided to take a cheap cheap tripod and strap it to my less cheap tripod with some zip ties and electrical tape. Anyhow, I thought I think it's hilarious, but the whole lighting situation and everything is set up to accommodate the overhead, so hopefully the video is better quality from here out. We're going to be doing overhead, but I thought you guys would enjoy that as much as I'm cracking up about it. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is open this package and show you what it's about. I took a screenshot of the advertisement on Facebook, so if you're interested in it, you can see what I'm talking about. It wouldn't let me link, so I took a screenshot. Whatever, I'll throw that on the screen. So we'll unpackage, and it's supposedly already charged. I say supposedly because it didn't quite behave very well, so we'll find out for sure. But yes, we're going to unpackage it, and then we're going to unpackage the that'll be a separate video, obviously, but we're going to unpackage it and then get started on building the project. And in this video, we'll review how well this soldering iron actually works assembling this project. So with that, let's get started with that. Okay, so now it's time for the unboxing of this snazzy gadget. Now, of course, it's made in China. You know what isn't these days? So this is a portable, rechargeable soldering iron. And there's really not a lot to it. I will confess, I did actually unpackage this and charge it. So, that's just preparation for a video. But I put it back together the way it's supposed to be, for whatever that's worth. All right, so open the little anti-static baggie, which isn't really too bad. And here's what we have. We have a charging dongle, the iron itself, which really isn't too bad. I guess on the back here is a little voltage adjustment. You just turn it and you can change the voltage apparently. And then there's a button for your on-off button. And then this obviously is the end where you connect everything up to. So the charging piece connects up to there, and it threads on. There's internal threads there, just like that. Right? So I did charge this thing. It behaved a little odd. So hopefully that works. Basically what it was doing is the light would turn red and then blink green. And then turn red and blink green. And I don't know, it was being weird. And then this is the tip, the soldering iron tip. A super cheap and factory bent stand, and then a little user's manual. And then the voltage can be adjusted, and then, you know, a bunch of Chinese, and I can't read that. So there it is. Yeah, I guess this one is called the Evod. For whatever it's worth. Let's take the tip out. Doesn't seem to be anything special. There's obviously something else that can screw on to the end of this housing, because there's threads like right there. Right. Okay, so what do I do? Let's get some solder. Yes, solder. Okay. All right, so we got some more stuff here. I got 2 different sizes of solder. I got my sponge, my copper sponge, some flux, and the tip tenor. I am going to start with the tip tenor. This is just my solder wick. So I'm going to start with the tip tenor. I don't care about the stand. I have a silicone mat. You can't burn the silicone mat. That's why I like it. I mean, come on. This is literally the cheapest soldering iron stand you can get. Whatever. That's junk. Okay. So I'm going to start with the tip tenor. And we'll see how well this thing works. All right, so push 5 times to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. We get a blinky light. Okay. And push and hold. And it should heat up. Let's get the brush on there. Okay, well, we got past the first part. The tip is nicely tinned, and I mean, it's not the strongest iron I've ever seen, but it did work with the tip tenor. Now, I have 2 different sizes of solder here. I'm going to try it with each size. Obviously, the heavier rosin core solder would be for like legitimate wire joints, and the thinner lead-free shenanigans. Is this lead-free? Yes. Right, so 0.6 diameter lead-free solder. This is what you use for electronics. This is what you really should be using for electronics. There's a good reason for that. You don't want to heat electronics up very much, so the sooner you can get the solder to melt, the sooner the joint's done. Whereas, you know, this, sometimes you just need a good bit of solder for like wire connections and stuff. So anyhow, all right, we're going to try it with the small stuff first. All right, so push and hold. And 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6. Up there it goes. So about 6 seconds. Yeah, it definitely worked. All right, now let's try it with the heavier solder. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. So it looks like it takes about 4 seconds to heat up. And yeah, it doesn't appear to really have too much of a problem. Now, I will say this. The 10-second timer is annoying. Absolutely. So it looks this is the lowdown of it. From cold, it looks like it takes about 4 to 6 seconds to get hot enough to actually melt the solder. You can see I got a little solder blurb there. Little solder ball there off the little solder. So it definitely works. I'm going to say this. The timer is inconvenient. Absolutely. What's the voltage on? It's on its maximum 4.8 volts. The timer is definitely inconvenient because about the time that it starts to melt the solder, you already need to redo the button. So that, like about twice as long would be significantly more convenient. But that being what it is. Okay. So that's for the initial test. And I'm going to say that's okay. But I want to put this thing to a practical test. So we're going to use it to build this kit. And this kit, I'll talk about in a different video. So got to get to that. All right. So let's use this thing in a practical application, building that kit, and we'll see how it goes. It's review time. So we have completed our project, the soldering project here, and I can give you I can give you my review of this product. And I'm going to tell you right off the get-go that it is not a terrible product. So you don't really pay too much. I think it's $30 or $40. The price will vary, I'm sure, depending on area, region, or time. So it's not very expensive. It's genuinely not. It's actually fairly cheap considering. The adjustability really is kind of worthless because it doesn't really get hot enough for anything. So this will be my official review of the Evod portable rechargeable soldering iron. It is not the best at any one thing. It is actually mediocre at a lot of things. That being said, it is not a bad product for the money you spend on it. So I am happy with the money I spent on this. I did manage to find a little niche where it is exceptional. If you are working on project electronics like this on a workbench or somewhere and you need to make a repair for some electronic substance, whether you got to replace a resistor, possibly do a wire joint, small electronic repairs, this thing is perfect for. It doesn't take long to charge up, but it also doesn't last very long. So that's why I say small electronic repairs. I found that it will last approximately 10 joints. After 10 joints, it's going to start not building the heat it really needs to produce an adequate solder joint. So that's its limitation. It doesn't have the capacity to run for a long period of time to do a project. The tip on it actually wears out pretty quick. All I have done is this one kit, this one solder kit, which I mean isn't the simplest of things, but you know, there's probably several hundred solder joints in here. But I continually found myself getting halfway through the resistors and then having to put it on the charger, and I ended up pulling out my snap-on soldering iron anyhow to finish the job up. This didn't get really hot enough to do an adequate job with the heavier solder joints. Definitely not on the heavier solder joints, such as the pins. And it absolutely would not get hot enough to solder the ground links on this one junction because it's a good bit of metal behind it. But when it came time to solder the jumpers after testing, and when it came time to like make a quick, you know, just do this resistor or just do that capacitor, or maybe I need to unsolder this chip and then resolder another chip, this does come in handy for that. So there you go. Spend 40 bucks, get a handy little, very narrow use tool. Yeah, I would say that's the trick to this one. So I'm not going to say it's a bad piece. It's actually a pretty good piece for what you pay for it. And there we go. The tip on it did wear down pretty quick. I ended up having to nibble a piece off, and I did not use heavy rosin core solder. I tinned the tip properly right from the get-go. I did not abuse the tip. I did not sand the tip. I did not use any abrasion on the tip. But I did find the tip wore down and it became misshapen by the time I was done with this project, to the point of I had to nibble a little bit off the tip and reshape it to make it useful. So that's something to consider. The tip will wear out pretty quickly, and I don't know if we can get replacements. Possibly if you look it up. But so there you go. I'm not disappointed. For $40, it does work. So if whatever your take is on it, by all means, if you're looking for something to just, and I'll say this, If you are going to take my word, which I don't recommend, I'm going to reading rainbow this stuff and say read a book, do your research. But if you're listening to my word, I'm going to say this soldering iron, the Evod Twist portable rechargeable soldering iron, is good if all you need to do is make a few electronics solder joint repairs. So if that's what you're into, this is a pretty good deal. For 40 bucks, I'm happy with it. If you are looking to have a soldering iron in the field, don't get this. If you're looking for a lab bench soldering iron where you're going to be doing projects, don't get this. If you're just trying to find something to stick some wires together in the garage, don't get this. It's not for that. If you need to make a repair on a resistor or a capacitor replacement or something in the field, or even on the bench, realistically it does heat up quickly, then this might actually work for you. So there you go. Take that as it may. Whatever, you know, try it out. Go to other viewers, see what you think about it. But that's my review on this product. I'm okay with it in the singular circumstance of how it's to be used. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching to this point. Hopefully you find this video useful, and hopefully you actually enjoy this video enough to hit that subscribe and bell icon, you know, to see the other videos into the future. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day. Till next time.
Bye-bye.